My name is Frederick Gabriel de Guemary.
And I'm Eric Villafuerte.
Today, we will be talking about indivisible obligation. So what is indivisible obligation? Eric?
Indivisible obligation. Indivisible obligation, an obligation in which the object in its delivery or performance is not capable of partial fulfillment.
Some examples of indivisible obligations are to deliver a specific car, A agreed to sing B a birthday song for 50 pesos, 3. An obligation to deliver a certain unit of laptop. There are multiple types of or kinds of indivisibility. First off,
legal indivisibility, where a specific provision of law declares an obligation which is divisible in nature and indivisible one. Second is conventional indivisibility, where the obligation is divisible but the will of the parties makes it indivisible. And lastly, natural indivisibility, where an obligation is indivisible because of its nature.
Article 1223. The divisibility or indivisibility of the thing that are the object of obligations in which there is only one debtor and only one creditor does not alter or modify the provisions of Chapter 2 of this title.
Example of this article is, June obtained a contract to deliver a 4x4 Toyota pickup fully automatic 2016 model to Mao that she will use for off-road trip not later than January 31. However, the only available model is a 2016 model 4x2 Toyota pickup full automatic. June cannot deliver the pickup available because the contract is non-susceptible for partial performance, realizing the purpose of which the obligation seeks to obtain. So, June has to deliver the exact car model required.
Article 1224. The main topic of this article is the effect of non-compliance by a debtor in a joint indivisible obligation. A joint indivisible obligation gives the rise to indemnity for damages from the time any one of the debtors does not comply with this undertaking. The debtors who have been or ready to fulfill their promises shall not contribute to the indemnity beyond the corresponding portion of the price of the thing or of the value of the service in which the obligation consists.
Example of this article is, Mila and Ligaya promised jointly to give a specific car worth of 2.4 million pesos to Jose. In the meantime, the car is with Honda Motors Company. Mila's share is therefore 1.2 million pesos. If Mila, because of gambling, does not have the money, but Ligaya has 1.2 million pesos, and it's clear that they cannot get the car from Honda Motors Company. So, they also cannot comply with their obligation of delivering the car to Jose. Here, the obligation to give the car is converted to a monetary obligation to give 2.4 million pesos to Jose. Ligaya is not responsible for Mila's insolvency, so she is duty bound to give only 1.2 million pesos. So Mila will be indebted to Jose for her share of 1.2 million pesos.
Article 1225. Rule to determine the divisibility and indivisibility of the obligations. There are four important rules to determine if an obligation is indivisible. So in the first paragraph, for the purpose of the preceding articles, obligation to give definite things and those which are not susceptible of partial performance shall be deemed to be indivisible. So in the first paragraph, the key takeaways to determine if something is indivisible is if the obligation to give is indefinite and not susceptible of partial performance. And in the third paragraph, however, even though the object or service may be physically divisible, an obligation is indivisible if so provided by law or intended by parties. So, it would only be called indivisible if it is either provided by law or intended by the parties involved. So, key takeaways before we end this discussion: indivisible obligation have nothing to do with the object of the presentation, and
indivisibility of the object necessarily means an indivisible obligation.
That's all. Thank you.